Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about the United States presidential election that is currently going on here in our country. More specifically, we're talking about presumptive Democratic candidate named Joe Biden. Joe has been in hiding for a couple months now, and he only recently came out to appear before a press conference just a few days ago. Now, he was over 80 days since he had spoken publicly and taken questions. He's had a few appearances. He's done a few videos from his basement and stuff like that. But for the most part, he's remained silent and kind of waiting and hoping that things will blow over so he can kind of swoop in and take all the votes that the Democrats are trying to hand over to them. Basically, Biden isn't doing much to help his own campaign. He's really just the anti-Trump candidate. He's not running against Trump on his own merit. He's just hoping that there's enough people that hate Trump that'll vote for him just because they don't want Trump anymore. That seems to be the strategy and the way I see it and the way things have been going down lately. And more information has come out since his more recent press conference, and it's rather interesting, rather funny, actually, because what Joe basically said was he's not going to be holding any rallies. He's not going to be doing a traditional campaign. He's already backing away from public appearances. He's not doing many press conferences, and now he's announcing that he's not going to do a lot of rallies either. These are pretty typical for campaigns, something that Trump does a lot of. Now, no one's saying you need to do amount of rallies that Trump does. Trump is actually very, very energetic, and he does these rallies very often. He at least did before this whole health scare shut things down for a while. But we recently had one in Tulsa about a week or so ago that was very exciting, very much fun. And there's going to be more Trump rallies in the future, I'm sure. But Biden is already tapping out. He's saying he's not going to hold rallies. And the interesting part is his excuse. He's saying he's not doing it because of this health scare. He's trying to put all the blame on this health scare. And we know this is just a cop-out. It's the same excuse he uses to cop out of public appearances and doing these press conferences, which is another thing. Trump does tons of press conferences like every week. During the crisis, he was on the press conference every day. Now he's got Kayleigh, his press secretary, taking over for it a bit, helping him out with the workload. But for the most part, Trump is very open. He speaks to the people. He appears before his audience and his fans and his voters and supporters. But Biden is the weaker candidate. He's very old, frail, probably suffering from some kind of memory loss or dementia. He's definitely not a young buck anymore. He doesn't have that energy. So what he's doing is he's staying out of the public spotlight for the most part. And then also he's refusing to do rallies. And I think the more important thing is people are suspecting this could be a lead up and this could be him eventually trying to back out of the debates. The debates were recently agreed upon. They're going to have 3 debates between Trump and Biden leading up to the election. But some say he might back out of those 2 and use the COVID, the disease, as an excuse. And that's, again, because Biden knows he's going to fail. He knows he just duffs everything up in a live setting. So the taking the questions thing is off the table. He just always can't speak right. He misspeaks. He doesn't remember things. He forgot that he worked for Obama. He forgets who his staff is and all this stuff. So that's why he backs out of press conferences. And then he wants to back out of the rallies because no one's going to show up. No one's excited about Biden. He's a terrible candidate. He could barely fill a high school football field. He couldn't even fill a basketball stadium. He couldn't even fill the gym at a high school or a middle school or something. I mean, this guy has no energy. He has no excitement in his base. So that's why he's avoiding these rallies and these gatherings. And then the next thing is he might try to get out of the debates, all of them under the excuse of this health scare, which gives him a great excuse. Admittedly, I can see how that could work on a lot of people, but we know that that's not the real case. So we're going to get more into this. Here's the first thing I heard about in this tweet. ABC News says, calling 2020 the most unusual campaign in modern history, Joe Biden says he'd rather campaign in person, but will not be holding rallies. I'm going to follow the doc's orders, not just for me, but for the country. So apparently a doctor told him he can't go to these rallies. That's what it sounds like to me. So to me, that seems like, okay, he's too old. He's too susceptible to this virus. He's too much at risk because he's weak. He's 77. That means he's going to be over 80 in the middle of his term if he actually won the presidency, God forbid. This is very old. Now, granted, people can still be functional at 80, even 90 sometimes. I mean, it's very, very rare, but it happens. 80 is still doable. There's politicians that have done it before, but Biden isn't looking too good. Biden isn't like a healthy kind of looking guy. He's looking like he's falling apart. He talks and speaks terribly, and that's just why people are worried here and why it's worth bringing up. And I think this whole issue is just really questionable and really kind of the bad signs for his campaign. So, with all that said, we're going to check out some of the video and see what he has to say.
Well, you know, this is the most unusual campaign, I think, in modern history. In that, but I start off with the premise, Mike, that I'm going to follow the doc's orders, not just for me, but for the country. And that means that I am not going to be holding rallies. I am not going to be, for example, you all are here, but thank the school has put those circles around so we keep the social distancing. Everybody.
So he's covering up. He's trying to act like he's this noble guy for not holding rallies. Like, oh, he's just better than everyone. He's staying safe. He's following the doctor's orders. Oh, he listened to the experts. But we all know this is just a cover. Like we said, he's just covering for his own frailty, for his own kind of weakness and his inability to perform and also to draw people in. He's trying to use these cops and this health scare and external factors as a cover up to show that he just can't make it. He's just not strong enough. He can barely speak publicly. He can barely hold himself together. And the other thing is, I mean, who is he listening to? Who's his doctor? Like, how is this saving America? Like, he acts like he's protecting everyone else. I mean, does he have the disease? Is it going to really hurt people if he goes to a rally? Is he going to infect them? Like, I don't get how he's saving everyone else. I guess because if he has a large gathering, they might infect each other or something. But that's still something that's able to be managed. I mean, Trump held a rally and, I know they spoke against it a lot, but you can test everyone. You can make sure they have temperatures and masks and sanitizers and all that stuff. Like, it's not the hardest thing in the world. No one had a big scare after that Tulsa rally. It's already been like over a week since that happened. And we would have known if something bad and terrible, like if everyone got infected or something like the news said. But no, that's just biased coverage. This is just biased liberal propaganda. They're trying to play the game and they're trying to kind of shame Trump for his rallies. I think another part of this is that Trump has too big a rallies. Like, we have too much support. We have too much energy. And they're trying to shame that and make it look like a bad thing. They're trying to kind of flip the script and make this big event look bad for Trump because they're like, oh, you're going to hurt each other. They're going to hurt each other. You're going to get each other sick. Like, all these people together. This is a bad thing. But really, that's a good thing. They're trying to rewrite the story, and they know that Trump having these big rallies, that's what helped him win last time. He had these big rallies. He went to every state. He visited all over the country, and this is why he has a strong base that spreads all over the place. And that's also why Hillary lost. Hillary didn't visit a lot of states. She thought she was going to win. She assumed it. She held smaller rallies at different places. She just pandered to people that already wanted to vote for her. And that's why Biden is just kind of going the other way. He's going to tap out of the rallies and try to make Trump's rallies look bad. Now, this is going to work on simple-minded liberals and people that wouldn't vote for Trump anyway, but most of us know that this is just a cop-out and that Biden is just a weak, kind of terrible loser.
Everybody has masks on. As soon as I finish this, I'll put my mask back on. So it's almost all been virtual, although I have gone to Houston, I have gone into Pennsylvania, I have gone to Virginia, I have traveled, but what I do, I get in, make my case, and leave, take questions, and leave. And so
I think that's what everyone does when they travel politically. You go to a place, you get in, you answer questions, and then you go. I mean, you're not doing anything different there, Biden. That's what Trump does. That's what everyone does on a campaign. I mean, I don't know why you can explain that to make it sound like you're winning or doing something better. I think this is just going to his ego. This is a person who thinks he's saving the world, like he thinks he's helping everyone by wearing a mask and not having rallies. It's just absurd.
But you know me, I'd much rather be out there with people because that's where I get the greatest feel. I can get a sense of by the look in their eyes, by the plaintive voices that they have, or what they're concerned about.
Okay, I don't like the way he did the little feel thing. This is a very creepy move, and especially from Biden. We know Biden's track record. We know he's a very touchy-feely guy. He likes to grab people. He likes to bring them in. He holds women closely. He sniffs on their hair. He does lots of creepy stuff like this. So this whole feeling of the people thing, I think he thinks that's cool. Like, oh, I'm cool. I'm down with the people. I know. Like, he has this whole slick Rick kind of vibe to him. Like, he thinks he's this big smooth talker kind of guy. But it's not looking that way anymore, Biden. You're way too old to be this creepy.
But notwithstanding that, I have been surprised. The irony is we probably reached more people directly on one-on-one. You all, particularly those of you who are with television stations, you all know that when you're on, you're having a one-to-one conversation with someone out there because there's one person on TV looking at you. I never quite thought of it that way before.
I don't know what you're thinking, Biden. I think he's trying to say he can reach more people on the internet or something. Like he's one-to-one on the internet with conference calls or live streams or something. Like I don't really get. He's kind of losing me in this part. I think this is where he's kind of losing his train of thought. He's like, "Oh, you TV people. Oh, you guys get that. Like you guys are. You know what I mean?" Like I don't know what he's trying to say at all.
But they tell me 200 million people have watched what I have done from home and the half a dozen things we've gone out and done. And so the irony is I think we're probably communicating directly in detail with more people than we would have otherwise. But I'd much rather be doing it in person.
If you say so, Joe. I think that's just another cover-up. This is all theater. For example, his last point doesn't really hold up because Trump can hold a rally. You can hold a rally and also broadcast to the internet. You can have these rallies and events and speak to the people in person and also live stream it at the same time, or you could have an internet event earlier in the day or afterwards. I mean, you could do both. Like you got to be able to have these kinds of, balancing acts. Like if you're a politician, you got a lot of things going, and apparently Biden can't handle it. He can't handle both. He has to either sit at home or go visit people at rallies, one or the other. He can't televise his rallies, all this stuff. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And it's showing how weak this campaign is, how weak the Democrats are, and how manipulative, too. He's not honest about things. I honestly would respect him a little more if he just said, "Hey, I'm getting old. I can't hang." I mean, I guess that would be the terrible thing to say. We want a young, strong president, but still, he's just lying. He's just saying it's because of the virus. It's because of this. We know it's other reasons. He doesn't have excitement. He couldn't fill up a rally if he tried, so he makes up these silly excuses. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Tell me what you think about Biden, what you think about the president and Trump and his rallies, and how Biden just can't cut it. Also, make sure you hit the like button to get this thing shared, hit that bell for notifications, and also subscribe to the second channel called NoBS News. Until next time, have a great day.